Welcome to episode 2 of Gloves and Roses. My week was Cheeks. How was yours?
Mine was good. I have a good story, actually, to start off
Do
with.
tell.
So at work, my coworker, he's actually my media planner, he took vacation the week before last, and he was supposed to come back this week, or this last week. So he took a trip from New Jersey to Bermuda, and he was going to sail back with a crew because he's an avid sailor, and he was going to do this adventure. And
Sailing's scary. You have to have
it
a
is.
brave heart to be on the
And
ocean.
So he stopped working in advertising for 2 years
Wow.
just to be
A pirate?
a captain. But if you met him, you would be like, wow, I can't imagine you. I don't know. When I think of sailor, I think of dirty language talking, pipe smoking,
Ex-Navyman. Seaman.
one eye closed.
Yeah,
Meow.
eye patch.
Eats spinach. Has
Yeah.
a girlfriend named Olive.
But yeah, so sailing, just kind of, I would compare it to people that backpack. It's they have their
Yeah.
life on their backs. They're ready to just travel and commit to their adventure life. So
Yeah, this is his thing. So what Muay Thai is to me, sailing is to him. And so his vacation was he was going to go down to Bermuda, meet up with this crew that sailed from New Jersey to Bermuda, and then he was going to be on the crew to sail back. So he flew out there a couple Fridays ago, and he was supposed to meet them over there and sail back to New Jersey. The plan was that he left on a Friday. He was supposed to be back in New Jersey on Wednesday, and then take Thursday off to recoup, and then Friday come back to work. So what happened was I had a long work week. We're really busy, which is a blessing because that means we're doing really well right now. And my boss was really nice enough to say, you've been working pretty hard this week, so let's you can have Friday off if you get this done tonight.
nice.
And so I was like, say less. So got everything done Thursday night. I'm pretty sure she did that because she knew my guy was coming back on Friday. And so Friday morning, I'm off, and I go to the gym, and I get this text message, and it's really long, and it's from my guy, and it was to me and my boss, and it was this text message: hey, hope you guys had a great week. Just wanted to let you know I'm still stuck at sea. Halfway on the trip, the boat got an electrical fire that knocked out our navigation system.
Oh my God.
Everybody's okay, but the Bermuda Triangle is real, guys.
Yeah.
Rest assured, I don't take this lightly, and don't worry, I'll never take a trip like this again.
Oh my
And
God.
he said that he thinks he'll be back on land somewhere in Virginia on Saturday or something like that. So he said I should be back to work on Monday.
I should be. We'll find out.
The funny thing is, I joked with him. I love this guy. We work so well together. He is my media planner, and we work together a lot. And just, been with him for about a year. We never argue. He's great. Awesome teammate. Love him. So when he said he was going to go on this trip, I made a joke, and I said, you better come back, or else I'm going to go out there and find you myself, because there's no way I'm going to keep working here without you, So went out there. He went out there. That happened. But back to what I was joking about, I told him to bring a volleyball with him, just in case. Because I was like, if anything happens, I just don't want you to be lonely, In reference to Wilson from Castaway, if anybody doesn't know. So, yeah, I hope you get back safe, and I can't wait to hear your story on Monday.
Yeah, safe travels, brother.
But I thought it was crazy because you hear all these stories about the Bermuda Triangle and how, like, all the way from, like, when Amelia Earhart, like, flew over the Bermuda Triangle and disappeared.
Yeah.
You hear about ships, like, going into the Bermuda Triangle and never coming up anywhere else. Like, they're missing.
Yeah, and what I had seen online was that they don't even know the actual count, the true count of how many ships or planes are actually down there. They estimate, I think it was like 50 ships and 20 planes. And a lot of that is, like, some of the theories are it's electromagnetic interference, which is probably what happened to your dude. And the other side of it, though, is it's really popular for storms. So it could have been not for your dude, hopefully, like, he didn't run into a storm.
No, the only thing he mentioned, was that there was an electrical fire on the boat, and
oh my God,
everybody's okay, but it knocked out the navigation system. And so just imagine being in the Bermuda Triangle, which is already a crazy place to be. It has such a reputation, right?
Yeah.
And then not having a navigation system.
I mean, already being in the middle of the ocean and you cannot see land and now you can't tell where you're going. I would hope that, you know, people that are doing that large of a mission, they do have some navigation skills that they could rely on beyond just using that. Like, maybe they can use their last known coordinates, how much time have you been traveling, at what speed. Like the physics, math.
You know, some people have really good sense of direction.
Yeah.
This is going to run off into a tangent real quick.
That's
because, like, some people have really good sense of direction, right? Mm-hmm. But there's people that don't. And it reminded me of this. When I was a kid, I used to go camping a lot with my cousins. And there was a lot of us. So we snuck out of our tent, and we all decided to take this hike down to, there was like a dock with like boats and stuff. And so we thought we were slick, you know, all our parents were asleep in their tents, and we all snuck out of our tents and took this walk down to this marina, which was the other side of the state park that we were at. That we shouldn't have done that because we dropped the lantern.
Oh no!
in the dock while we were playing around there, and so we had no light coming back. Back to sense of direction. I remember we were walking in the pitch black, and we just were like, I'm pretty sure that our campsite's over here, you know? Mm-hmm. And we were like, we just can't risk it. Because we just don't know, like, if we're in somebody else's campsite or whatnot. So,
oh my God,
I remember we all sat.
There
was at least 6 or 7 of us. I remember we all were like, well, here's a picnic bench. Let's just sit here until the sun starts to come up, and then we'll find our way back to camp. And the sun starts to come up. We're over here like lollygagging. I think we were like singing songs or just, I don't know what we were doing to pass time. And so the sun starts to come up, and I look around and I'm like, guys, and they're like, what? And I'm like, our campground's right here. Like, we were in our campground. We were like the lot over from our campground the whole time.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So I'm pretty sure my parents and all my aunts and uncles heard us all night long and just didn't bother us.
They probably thought that you guys were literally just right, like, on the actual site itself, and didn't even question it.
Point is, we don't have a good sense of direction.
Yeah.
So our navigation was off.
I mean, it's hard at night. It's a lot easier during the daytime because, like, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. So.
Well, you would think people would know that, but a lot of people don't. And
don't you learn that in the same grade that you're taught how to read, like, the hands of the clock? Like, I think that should be the same type of mental. You're learning directions, like little arms and arrows.
Yeah, I might have been sleeping during that class.
I think
don't
a
know.
lot of people slept through the clock class.
You know what though? Here in Vegas, I use the Strip like a compass.
Yeah.
So
yes.
when I'm driving, I know that Mandalay Bay is the south end of the Strip, and I know that the Strat is the north end of the Strip. So I think of Vegas in like a kind of grid system.
Yeah.
And because I honestly think I'm from San Francisco and I live throughout the Bay Area, and I feel like
Everything's like in a neighborhood.
Vegas is easy to navigate through because you're going to go north and south or east and west, and then you have the 215 that circles. And all I know is that the airport's in the center of the city, so you can't like. There's some streets that would go right through the airport that you can't go all the way down to the north side from the south side on because the airport's right in the middle.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, that's as good as I get in navigating. I think I got better at it as I got older.
When I travel to different places, like there are states where they don't have mountains. Oh, like California. When I'm in the middle of California, like Los Angeles, and when I'm in the hills, it's a little bit better because it's like, oh, okay, I can see it. But if it's all buildings as far as you can see, I start to get nauseated. Like being in New York City, like I can't see mountains. All the buildings are just blocks and rows, like, and everything is like numbers and letter combinations. Like I'm never gonna remember this, and so
I know.
It's
like
constantly lost in the
7th
city.
Avenue and 51st Street or something like that.
Yeah, and it's like how your brain is wired to navigate different environments. But yeah, like landmarks help, but I don't know. I was never accepted into the Girl Scouts, but I'm a scout at heart.
It's okay, I was a junior ranger.
You were in the Girl Scouts?
No.
What is a junior ranger?
So we would, like I said, we'd go camping a lot when we were kids. And, the rangers at the parks used to do these little, like, every Saturday, come and meet at this little site right here, and it's junior ranger, and you can, like, learn about, like, how to take care of poison, if you get poison ivy, or, like...
Yeah. That's useful.
Yeah, or, like, this is a snake you don't want to touch, or, stuff like that. But we used to go so frequently that we would save our little cards, for every time that you go, and we were junior rangers.
That's fun. Oh, proud moment, dude.
I was a junior ranger. I'm not ashamed of it, but...
So, I mean, it's like teaching life skills, right? And I kind of want to use it as a segue into like our next topic of just like abbreviating like learning or sources of learning. And there's this new article thing that came out. I saw it originally as a YouTube short, and then I did my own research because I have to make sure it's not just some AI generated thing on YouTube. And what I saw was that there's this actual debate that's coming out about how AI can simulate jail time for people. So imagine serving a 14, 30, 100-year life sentence within 2 minutes. And they would do it through like a brain implant and an AI software. The brain implant part scares me, but I also don't think we're too far off from it because Elon Musk is already working on Neuralink. And yeah, just devices in your brain. I have a weird time with it, but I also wouldn't see us being too far from it, accepting it as a society and as a species, just because, we already have pacemakers. We already have those type of artificial living devices inside of us. We have AirPods that we have almost as like an external accessory to ourselves, that it's not too far from us just being like, it's one with us, it's part of us. Like my Apple Watch, I wear it every single day.
Same.
And I still have the only time to take it off or to charge it. I don't know if there's going to be any impacts, right? But it's something to think about.
This is kind of scary.
Scary.
It's really scary. AI in itself is I was like, we're going to go there. I looked at our podcast notes and I was like, we are going to go there. It's one of those things that is exciting, but that saying, when you're too smart for your own good?
Yeah.
I totally think that's where we are at as a human race. I think we're at this point where it's great for advancement, but where's the line? Like you're talking about AI putting it into somebody's brain. Like, you're allowing for someone else to control your thoughts at that point.
Yeah.
That's bad.
And memory implants is a scary, scary concept. They want to use it for societally beneficial purposes, which is great, but you don't know the downstream effects of making that societal choice because you thought it might be helpful. Like, part of what they want to do is it's to download memories and remorse. So can you imagine how, like, it's already traumatized somebody else to have had to go through that. But then imagine that the aggressor's sentence or punishment for it is that he has to now relive that person's memories and be the one that was being attacked by himself, like something traumatic like that. And then imagine he does leave prison or this mental AI state, and he comes back into the world and he feels like I've died, like I've lived all these lives. And who knows what that effect is? Like, I don't think that somebody serving that much time just to come back into another reality, I don't know if that really helps them because you're creating a pain for them. Like, that's supposed to be their punishment. But I don't know.
So my take on it is this. A person who can commit a crime that's horribly painful to their victim, mm-hmm. whether it be rape or assault, like attempted murder, or murder. It takes a certain someone to do something like that. So if they can't feel remorse naturally, I really don't think that putting something in their brain is going to make them feel that. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that's a really, like, I don't think that's going to be helpful. It goes along the lines of, like, they used to say that, like, you know, punishment for rapists or molesters should be castration.
Yeah, they did say that for a really long time. And it was practiced.
I honestly, I don't think that's enough of a punishment, because I don't think they're doing they're directing it the right way. You know what I mean? Because
yeah, for sure.
It needs to be in their mind to do something of that sort, something that horrible.
Yeah.
And castrating them, that's just an instrument of it. Like,
yeah.
If they can't use that, then they're going to use something else, because it's not
the emotions and the motivating drives are still
it's
there.
not the actual, like, body part that did it.
Yeah.
It was what was going on in their head.
Yeah, and chemical castration was a punishment for being found gay all through even World War II. Isn't that shocking? Being like, that was your punishment. And the guy that invented the initial, I think his name was Adam, I forgot his first name, but the last name is Turing, and he created the first computer, or like basically that's how they were able to crack the Nazi code. There's a whole movie on it. Benedict Cumberbatch did a great job. But what was tragic, as a spoiler alert, if you were a gay man, you were chemically castrated. So yeah, and the thing is, if you're imagining like 1920s, 30s, like 40s type of medication, especially if it's for castration, they probably don't care how effective it is, and people were really getting ill because of this. Like, castration should be something different, but I mean, like, as a punishment in general, it's just terrible. So coming back to the jail thing, that was a hell of a tangent.
Yeah, it
was. But I just needed to mention that fact that, like, chemical castration just as a punishment is pretty brutal. Surgical castration, I think, is different. But I think with the time punishment, if you are only going through a simulation of it, I wonder if you're even conscious that it's a simulation.
That's exactly what I mean. Like, just say you're not conscious that it's a simulation. Just say that you're in that, right? Mm-hmm. What makes you think that, like, if they did that in real life and didn't feel any remorse and they're reliving it again, sometimes people do that kind of stuff for thrill. Mm-hmm. Some people are literally addicted to adrenaline rush. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that's why they're serial killers. Like, when you watch Netflix documentaries or Hulu documentaries on serial killers that are actually still alive, and they talk, and they're very candid about, like, what they do. You know, they talk about I did it and I got away with it. So I wanted to do it again.
That's a good point. Like, you can't really teach remorse. So
Yeah,
it's
you
a part of the brain's wiring that either remorse is you have the capacity for it or you don't. Same way with like you either like music or you don't.
It's totally something that is just built into your DNA. Like,
or into your brain, like physically, like the physicality of your brain. Because maybe it's not DNA, because a lot of serial killers, they show that a lot of times from the ages of 1 to 4, they had some traumatic event or they had a head injury.
Makes sense.
Yep. So,
it makes me think about this also. There's people that like I used to not feel a lot of the things that I feel now that I'm older. Remorse and guilt were probably one of the things that I didn't really feel much when I was young. Like, I could do something that wasn't really nice and not feel a thing about it, you know, when I was younger. But now that I'm older and hence experience so much of life in between now and then, I think that I have more of a sensitivity to things. So, like, I could cry at the drop of a dime, whereas when I was younger, it really just depended on what it was. I was kind of a jerk when I was a kid, but...
I mean, I think when you're younger, like, there isn't as much, like, holding you down because you're looking at the world like there's infinite time. And I think that's kind of part of why prison matters, like, to not go through an AI simulated experience, because the time that you are losing out on with your real family and your real friends, that's the most painful part, or what's supposed to be the most painful part of being in prison. It's not even that you miss out on the pleasures of life, it's that you miss out on time with those people. And if they're going through an AI simulated experience, they will not actually lose out on any time.
No,
if they do it in 2 minutes, they don't. Yeah, so the punishment isn't really there. Like, I can see where, they did learn remorse. I don't know how the AI would recognize that. Like, if the AI could even share the images of what they're putting inside of somebody's brain or how they're triggering those things. Like, because I feel like there would have to be some legal liability, right? Because you're also not able to, if you're not able to effectively monitor the AI, bless you.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
God damn it, we're going to have to cut that. I really tried.
You're fine. I think that if you're not able to effectively monitor the AI, it could be like the Stanford prison experiments, where just because something has power, it's going to use that power over other people. And if AI is the one who's supposed to be the physical guards and POs that are walking through the prison, well, you don't know how they're going to treat the prisoners. And like, if the AI is dictating their their experience in this virtual reality, there's a lot of unknowns with this. It's still super early in, but fascinating, flippin' fascinating. So you came in here pretty sore. What's up?
Yesterday was Thai strength and conditioning day, Muay Thai strength and conditioning day. So I train with my coach, shout out to Master Chan, every Saturday, and we do Muay Thai training, but not like regular pad work. It's resistance bands, and I started training Southpaw yesterday. So I'm going to do 3 months of Southpaw training, which means that I will be training with my right hand as lead versus my left hand as lead. So
you normally stand like this.
I normally stand with, I'm an orthodox
with your
fighter.
right hand in front.
Correct. So I'm orthodox fighter means like I stand with my left in front. My left hand is my jab. My right hand is my power. Push like this. But so that was a workout in itself, and then I had a leg day with my friend, and I'm hurting today.
Nice.
But back to the whole training Southpaw versus regular. I wanted to like talk about that because it did something to my brain.
Okay.
So when I'm teaching my students at the gym, when they first get introduced to Muay Thai, I always tell them that if you are right-handed, you stand with your left in front, your right in the back, because the power should be in the back. And so that's a normal orthodox fighter stance. Training southpaw, your right's going to be the front and your left is your power. I think it's pretty important for like coaches to know how to.
Oh, sorry, the wobble. Okay, thanks.
I think it's important that coaches know how to train both sides, because you're going to have students that are southpaw and right and orthodox, lefties and righties. So left-handed people are usually, we call them southpaws, because they're left-hand dominant. Their strength comes from their left hand, their left side. And I was thinking about how when I tell my students, so you are going to have your right side's going to get the movement down, but it's going to look sloppy at first because you grew up all your life with your motor skills connected to your right side. So the left side of your brain is what works when you're controlling the right side of your body.
Yeah.
It's like an opposite thing. And you're going to always feel weird with your left side because you're not used to using your left hand, and your motor skills are not programmed on your left side. So it's going to feel weird. But what I always tell my students is that your right side might look sloppy, but your left side, when you learn it, it's going to look better than your right side, because in my mind, your right side has all these motor skills that are already like implanted in your muscles. Like it's muscle memory. You write with your right hand. You probably open and close your doors with your right hand. So in Muay Thai specific movement, sometimes you have to unlearn the common movement of your right side. And with your left side, since you're not used to using it, it's almost like it's a clean slate. Yeah, so I trained southpaw all day yesterday. And I noticed that when I was walking out of training, I never realized that I walk with my left foot first. I don't know if, I mean, those are things you don't really think about, but like left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. But after I trained southpaw yesterday, like my brain was like super discombobulated. And so I was walking right foot first, left foot second, and I noticed the difference completely.
Yeah, you were kind of like walking sideways instead, because you were just like, the feeling was like weird.
Even when I was driving back home after training, I was driving, and it was weird because I was like, I put my left blinker on, but I noticed I was kind of leaning to my right, and I was like, this is weird. And it took a good hour for my brain to convert back to normal. Like, I got home, I took a shower, I took a nap for a little bit, and then I was back to normal. I had to reset, but it tripped me out that like I was totally miscombobulated. And I think it's because, you know, I focused so much on using my left side as power and my right side as the lead, which is opposite when you are a orthodox fighter, that like it shifted my whole way of thinking. So shout out to all the left-handers, because
Southpaw.
to the southpaws, because I feel like this world is predominantly right-handed.
Yeah.
You have right hand scissors. You have like, there's a lot of things that are more accustomed to like right-handed people than left-handed people. And it just kind of got me in this whole thought process of like, I feel like left-handed people have to adapt to regular ways of life in a right-hand world.
I can see that. I couldn't even think of like all the things that are right-handed. I remember a couple examples of like, for example, the computer mouse. You always use it with your right hand. When you go to computer class, they're always training you to use your right hand.
Right.
But I had a physics teacher who was saying that he's training his kids to use their left hand. And when I started my accounting career, I honestly wish that I had started using the mouse with my left hand, because if the number pad is on the right, you know, if you're somebody that works in like finance, or like, you're probably going to end up using the number pad if you are someone that ends up working in a corporate role at some point. But to go from typing in the number pad, the 10 key, to jumping over to the mouse, it slows you down, versus if you were already trained having used the mouse on your left side. But we already train a lot of people to use your right hand with the mouse. And so as like a mental exercise, they've shown that it's really good, especially not that we, or that I'm a doctor and I can even diagnose dementia or like suggest anything that would help it validly or credibly, but they show that when you use, like if you were to brush your teeth using your left hand instead of your right hand, whichever one is your non-dominant, if you do that, it's waking your brain up for the day, and it's already putting you in a state of being already more self-aware and self-conscious. So for people that do have to switch between the sides of the brain for a motor activity, it's going to require probably twice as much effort, because you actively have to think about it to put it into muscle memory.
I can seriously justify the more work part. Because I noticed whenever I train southpaw, I sweat more.
Yeah.
And me and my Thai trainer, Master Chen, were talking about, because he's like, "Whoa, you're sweating a lot," and and it's not it. So my training isn't any different than what I do when I do normal stance, orthodox stance, but because I'm switching which part of my brain I'm using, it does slow me down a tiny bit. I do have an advantage to training southpaw because I do hold southpaw. So there are some motor skills now that are deeply embedded in the muscle memory. But so I'm not completely uncoordinated on my left hand. Also, I do want to say that since I was a kid, I always wanted to play the drums. I have a older cousin who got me into the skating world, and he also played in a rock band when he was a teenager, and he was a self-taught drummer. And I always wanted to play the drums. And so I played the piano, so I can use my left hand. I think that helped a lot. But playing the drums, I feel like when you play the drums, it makes you somewhat ambidextrous.
Yeah, for sure. I can't play the drums. I've tried, and for some reason, the left side of my body is just always like lagging by a half beat. It's really sad.
You know what's funny is like I think about it, and I'm like, the left side of when I do play the drums, the left side is the snare. So when I'm playing the hi-hat and I'm keeping a steady tempo, and then you throw in the snare, it's real important, like, to be able to be ambidextrous. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of like music playing is, but it's like, for example, like in the piano, I gave you an example earlier of how I had that boss that was able to write at the same time if he was using both hands, and he couldn't do it if it was one or the other. For piano, I'm still very much like right-handed, and they teach you that when you're looking at the measures or the bars, you're reading the soprano key, so your right hand, the higher.
The melody is your right, and the harmony is your left.
I mean, so when you get into classical music, though, the melody exists between both hands.
Correct.
Like Chopin's the crossing of the fingers. Yes. But I can like remember like trying to train my left hand, because we had to do like the C major grand scales, where it's like all the way up 4 octaves and then down 4 octaves. Then you have to. There's a point where you have to split. So it's not like you can watch your fingers anymore. You're going opposite directions.
Yes.
Yeah, you're going opposite directions from the center. So you're literally like staring into the abyss. You can't see what you're pressing, but it's muscle memory, and it's really hard, because just to like, and I still try to go through this exercise today, because I've been doing it for I guess 10 years now, but it still is very challenging, and even to do it in different scales besides C major. But yeah, just the mental state you have to be in to put in that effort, the training, the muscle memory. It's difficult to get all of it synchronized and to even get to a point where you're effectively able to use it in a ring, in a competition, a real world situation where you can switch stances. For anybody that does not know how to determine whether they are orthodox or southpaw, how would you determine this?
So when I have a new student that comes into the gym, the first thing that I ask them when I have a orientation or even a first class trial, the first thing I ask is, are you right-handed or left-handed? Because if they're right-handed, you normally want them to be left foot in front, left hand in front, right in the back, because you want the power to be in the back.
Power in the back.
Power in the back. So if they are right-handed, I'll have them stand orthodox, which is left leg in front and right leg in the back.
So orthodox.
Orthodox is left in front, right in back. And I didn't make this up. This is something I've heard in the past. I don't remember where it came from, but when you start becoming very skilled in, I'll say Muay Thai, because I can only speak on Muay Thai, but I like to say left side cemetery, right side. I'm sorry, left side hospital, right side cemetery.
Explain.
Okay, left side.
I'll send you to the hospital versus I'll send you to the cemetery.
Well, because for me personally, the left side is a lot faster than my right side.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's because I load up. If I'm throwing my right, you're getting hit, whether it's a kick or a punch. Left side, my favorite punch is the jab, and I think that the jab is the most important punch in martial arts because there's so many things that you can do with your jab. You can you measure with your jab. You disrupt rhythm with your jab. You set up other punches and kicks with your jab. So having a very good, strong, fast jab,
leading hand, yeah,
is so important, which is your leading hand, correct? If the jab could be so annoying. Like if you're fighting somebody and you throw a million jabs out there, eventually they're just gonna keep getting, it's annoying.
Yeah.
Because they can't figure out when to come in because that jab is just going and going and going. And so that's what I would teach my student, like women that are coming in for their first time, left in front, right in back if you're right-handed. And then I have the occasional southpaws that come in, and I'm like, great. And I feel like I always tell them, like, you're special. Because 90% of this gym is orthodox.
Yeah.
You know what
but
I mean?
Still 90% ratio compared to, like, if you only had one person in the whole gym that was southpaw, because there is, that type of environment. There are places where it's really rare to get a true southpaw that walks in through the doors interested in like learning with a blank slate. But yeah, it would be hard too if someone was always a southpaw and had previously been trained, like if they went from boxing to Muay Thai and they were trained in
Southpaw and boxing and orthodox.
And then they had to go back to orthodox and like Muay Thai, but maybe like it could also feel better for them.
It could. It really just depends on what the style of the coach, I think.
Yeah.
Master Chan, my Thai coach, he's right-handed, and he fought southpaw. The person, one of the greatest coaches to ever live, Coach Pretty Boy, he was a southpaw naturally. He was left-handed. He's the one who taught me how to hold mitts and pads, and so he taught me how to hold southpaw. He taught me how to hold pads, period, because he could hold both orthodox and southpaw, which made him really great at that. He was one of the best pad holders I've ever had.
If you made it to this point of the video, thank you so much for watching. If you found any value or found it entertaining, please drop a like, subscribe, leave us a comment on anything you do want us to talk about or elaborate on further. And yeah, thanks guys. We'll see you in the next one.
See you soon.
You good? Bye.
Peace.